good evening everyone, and welcome to this first council's meeting. I will call the meeting to order and we'll stand for the singing of O Canada. O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. We're going to ask you to come to all our council meetings. So we have a record of attendance. Lindsay, you're good with that. No absent with regrets. And I just want to say welcome to everybody before we get started. We're thrilled that you could come. It's an exciting evening. We have our MP, Chris D'Entremont. Welcome, Chris. We know you're busy. Thanks for coming. We have Warden John Cunningham from the municipality of the District of Yarmouth. He's out here. We have Councillor Patty Durkee with the municipality is with us as well. And we actually have regrets from the Warden of Argyll, Danny Muse. They have council orientation this evening. So they're doing all their catching up. And actually, our MLA, Zach Churchill, would love to be here. He's actually on the road. I guess trying to get over that bridge this evening took him an extra measure of time. So if he can sneak in a little bit later, he will, but otherwise, he just wishes everybody well, and he wishes he could be here. So I'm going to pass it over to you. Jeff Gouchou is our CAO, and he's going to do the election results, please.
Thank you, Your Worship, and welcome everyone. On Saturday, October 17th, the town of Yarmouth held a general election for election of council. We had 4 candidates for mayor, 18 candidates for councillor, which in my memory, I don't recall such a large field. So a great turnout for a chance to sit at this table. This was our 4th election that we held fully electronically. The town of Yarmouth was one of the first municipalities in the province of Nova Scotia to go fully electronic. This is our 4th election going fully electronic, and we had a 56.6% turnout. That is 3,027 electors cast a ballot out of 5,351. That turnout is the lowest we've had for a general election by electronic ballot, but it is higher by several percentage points from the 2 previous general elections with a paper-only ballot. So although it may not have been as high as the last 2 general elections, it was considerably higher than the 2 previous and the last 2 elections that we held with paper only. So David Solo served as our returning officer, and he did an absolutely wonderful job. David was professional and diligent in everything that he did, and it was certainly a privilege to work with him. His report is attached to the agenda in detail, which outlines several recommendations that we'll consider for the next election, and we appreciate that thoughtfulness on his part. I want to point out that at the end of his report, he also singled out 3 members of our regular staff that contributed greatly to the success of the election. Jody Kinney served as the deputy returning officer. Lindsay McKinnon, our clerk, assisted in the election, and Mike Carter, our communications officer, helped in getting the word out around all matters around the electronic election. So I want to echo David's compliments to those staff members, because I know they put a lot into it as well. So with that being said, Your Worship, it'll be no surprise to anybody who won the election. There's no controversy. Mayor Pamela Mood, Councillors Stephen Barry, Jim McLeod, Wade Cleveland, Heather Hatfield, Gil Dares, and Derek Lesser. So, Your Worship, with that, I think it's time to swear you all in and officially have you take those positions. And so we're privileged tonight to have Justice Christensen join us for the swearing in, and I'll ask her to come forward. And Mayor Mood, if you'll be the first to be sworn in. Now, I'll say this for everyone here. We do have an official photographer, and he's going to take pictures, but if members of family or friends that have come to enjoy the occasion wish to come forward and take pictures as well, we'll be very patient tonight. We have all the time that you need to enjoy this moment and capture it in your own way. So we'll start with Mayor Mood.
I, Pam Mood, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law, and that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of Mayor of the town of Yarmouth, and that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or other undue execution of the duties of my office.
Steve Barry.
I, Steve Barry, swear or solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successor according to law, and that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of Councillor at the town of Yarmouth, and that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I have not received and that I will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or other undue execution of the duties of my office.
Jim McLeod.
I, Jim McLeod, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law, and that I am duly qualified as required by the law of the office of Councillor of the Town of Yarmouth, and that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or other undue execution of the duties of my office.
Wade Cleveland.
I, Wade Cleveland, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law, and that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of Councillor of the Town of Yarmouth, and that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or other undue execution of the duties of my office.
Heather Hatfield.
I, Heather Hatfield, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law, that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of Councillor of the Town of Yarmouth, and that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or other undue execution of the duties of my office.
Gil Dares.
I, Gil Dares, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law, and that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of Councillor of the Town of Yarmouth, and that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or other undue execution of the duties of my office.
Derek Lesser.
I, Derek Lesser, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law, and that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of Councillor of the Town of Yarmouth, and that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office for which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of partiality or other undue execution of my duties of my office.
Justice Christensen, before you take off.
That's okay. We just have a small token of our appreciation for you coming out this evening and making us all official. So thank you. Phew, okay. Okay, we're all official. This is good. So the next order of business is the election of deputy mayor. And we have a policy around that. So what we will do is, it is for 2 years. Anytime CAO, you can correct me, go ahead.
Sorry, yes, Your Worship. So council is required to set the term of the deputy mayor prior to the selection of the deputy mayor. And attached to the agenda, there is a recommendation from myself that you consider a 2-year term. And I'm just basically carrying on what the previous council had done. They had selected a 2-year term, which means that partway through the term, you do the process again. But I thought it worked well last time, and as far as that goes. So it can be 1 year, it can be 2 years, it can be 3 years or 4 years. But I think 2 years is I have to recommend something, so I think 4 years just carries on what the previous council did. So it'd be appropriate to for the council to make a motion on the term of the deputy mayor, and then we can talk about the process.
Perfect, okay. Councillor Hatfield, did you have you're good? Okay. All right, so I am looking for a motion. Go ahead, Councillor MacLeod. Oh, wait a minute. Somebody else has a light on. No, we're good. The standing joke is it's 8 years and I've yet to do this correctly. I was just testing you. Okay, Councillor MacLeod?
So, Your Worship and fellow councillors, you're looking for a motion for the length of the term of the deputy mayor.
Yes.
I move a motion that who we elect tonight as our deputy mayor, that he or she have a term for 2 years.
Okay, thank you. Looking for a seconder.
Your Worship, I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Cleveland. Any discussion on that motion? Questions called? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. So the next order of business is the actual election, and what will happen here, I'll just give you the process quickly, is in order to become deputy, you need to be nominated. Somebody will second that, and then you must accept that nomination. And then I will ask again if there's anybody else, any more nominations, and I will ask that until there are no further nominations for deputy. and the vote will be conducted by secret ballot, and the CAO and our solicitor will count those, and after that, the ballots will be destroyed. Is there anything else, CAO? Good? Okay, so I am looking for anyone who wants to nominate someone for the deputy mayor's seat. Councillor Hatfield?
Your Worship, I would like to nominate Councillor Stephen Barry for deputy mayor.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Lesser.
Your Worship, I would like to second that.
Okay, thank you. So it's been moved and seconded. Do you accept that nomination, Councillor Barry?
I do.
Okay, thank you. So Councillor Steve Barry's name stands. Are there any further nominations for deputy mayor? Are there any further nominations for deputy mayor? And I'll ask one last time, any further nominations for deputy mayor? Okay, hearing none. Our new deputy mayor is Steve Barry by acclamation. Congratulations, you are now on my speed dial. So next on the, go ahead there,
I was just going to ask,
Councillor McLeod.
does Steve now have a different email address?
Gosh, you know.
Yeah, just kind of a little tease there. Congratulations, Steve.
After about a month, he's going to wish his email disappeared. Oh, it's all good. Okay, so the next order of business is, we just jotted down greetings from the new council, and we thought that anybody on council that wanted to share a few words with the audience here, certainly with our Eastlink listeners, there's thousands of people watching this evening. Would anybody like to share some words? Go ahead, Councillor Hatfield.
Thank you. It is an honor and a privilege to be sitting here at this table tonight. I first want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the citizens of the town of Yarmouth for electing me to be one of your 6 councillors. I am truly grateful. A big shout out to those who helped me deliver campaign material door to door. You know who you are. I didn't realize how many households there were in the town of Yarmouth until you start to try to deliver something to every door. So I couldn't have done it without their help. A huge thank you to my family, my 2 daughters, Megan and Kelty, and the 2 Jeffs, and my 4 granddaughters. They encouraged me to run. They believed in me when I doubted myself. They rescued me from many technology meltdowns and helped me celebrate when I won. I could not have done it without you. I am very excited for the next 4 years. We have many challenges ahead of us, but believe that this council is committed to working together to making decisions for the best interest of all citizens at heart.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Cleveland.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple of things that I wanted to say. First off, not until you actually do this for a few years do you realize how much time this takes. And so I want to say a huge thank you to my wife, Kathy, for the support that she's shown me up to this point. Often with something like this, it becomes more of a calling than it does a job. It's very much that. And so often, family becomes something that goes to the back seat in many instances. And so she's been so supportive for everything that we've done that I couldn't have done it without her. So thank you for that. I'd also like to thank my official agent, Lynette Mullen, without whom I wouldn't even have bothered to put a campaign on. So thank you very much for that. And I just want to let you know I've got a new book. It's a new term, and I got a new book. I threw out the old one. I found that the last council took a lot of big swings. We swung hard. We swung for the fences. we missed more than once. And I'm hoping that this time will be a little bit different. But I've got some big things that I have in this book that I want to see fulfilled. The first one being the reopening of the pool at the old YMCA facility and the expansion of the Mariner Center. And the two of them go together in my mind. The Mariner Center should be running that old pool until the new one comes in place. And so we're going to see that get done. There's a few other things in there as well, and I won't take up your time with any of it, but I think we've got a lot to do, and I'm confident we're going to do a lot of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Dares.
Thank you. Being elected to council has been a very humbling experience, and I think that's as it should be. I wanted to say a sincere thank you to all of those who supported me in this and entrusted me with this very important mission. Special thanks to the very dynamic team that helped me get to where I am today. And only one promise, I'll do my very best on your behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Anybody else? Councillor Lesser.
Just wanted to say, Your Worship, thank you to the people of Yarmouth for putting your support in not just me, but the other members of this council. I said it when we were at the Grand for our debate, I guess, that I was honored to be at the table just to be able to sit with the 18 candidates running. I wish more of those candidates could have won as well, but I feel very honored to be here with Jim, Steve, Wade, Pam, Gil, and Heather. I think we've been meeting quite a bit over the last few weeks, and I'm excited what we're going to accomplish together. I think we're a pretty solid team together, and we've demonstrated that so far. So I would also like to, as Wade said, I think it will take an effect, have an effect on your family. So I would like to thank my wife, my two daughters, my son, and my grandson Ryder for campaigning with me all through town, and my granddaughter Parley. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McLeod.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pam. I've been on several councils all through the years, and I'm really appreciative of the fact that I can be, thanks to all the citizens and the voters of our town of Yarmouth. I'm looking forward to working with the current council and accomplishing the goals that we determine as a committee. And as Wade has mentioned, there are several that are on my list too that he's mentioned, and just looking forward to working with the group. Oh, and I must thank my wife and my two children who are in the back row there, who were, I'm not sure if they're holding their breath while I was running for council, but they were wondering anyway. So anyway, thanks to everybody. It's here, and thanks to all the citizens and voters of the town of Yarmouth. And again, thanks, guys and gals. I'm looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Mayor?
Oh, that sounds different. I'd just like to say thank you to all my supporters, to my family who's always had my back, and my friends who are also here tonight. Some great faces around the table, and really looking forward to getting down to business. I think it's important that we follow through on our election campaigns, remember why it is we're elected. I think what Councillor Cleveland said earlier about the YMCA is near and dear to my heart also, and I think I'd be remiss if we didn't give a shout out to Councillor Hood, Deputy Mayor Mooney, and Councillor Don Barry, who added a lot to this council, and we hope to pick right up where they left off and do some great things. So to my councillors, I look forward to working together, and let's do this.
I think we covered everybody. I'm going to share some personal thanks. First of all, thanks to all of you for coming out and supporting everybody here. I want to thank my daughter Julie, who's over in the corner there, because she kind of kept things in order while I was on the road, and she was on the road sometimes with me. And to my other two children, Haley and Brian, who certainly supported me long distance. And to my granddaughter Riley, who will be 1 year old tomorrow, who made sure that I had a smile on my face just when I thought, I couldn't take one more step. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for always being there and with the listening ear, because you had to listen a lot. And thanks, Mom, for the open kitchen policy through the whole campaign. That was awesome because anytime my team and I needed something quick to eat, Mom's Kitchen was open. Even when we didn't need something to eat, we snuck in. So thanks for that. Thank you to my team. You know who you are, Det and Val and the other team members. I am so humbled to be surrounded by people who believe in me and who step up to get the job done with me. To the tune of, I think everybody at this table can attest, 25,000 Fitbit steps every single day. And we bumped into each other on the road a lot, so it was a wild ride. I want to say thank you to my CAO, Jeff, for supporting my ideas, for putting up with my impatience and getting those ideas done, but mostly for making my job fun and a challenge and something that I wanted to do again. You played a big part in that. I'm thankful for every single person at this table. We have a great team here, and I know you're chomping at the bit to get moving. I know the deputy over there said it 3 times tonight in my office. He goes, let's just get this thing going. And as we make the final transition from one council to the next, I want to take a moment, as the deputy did, to say thank you to those that served on the previous council that aren't at the table. Don Barry, you led with heart. You always showed how much you care about people, truly. Clifford Hood, you will never know how much you taught me. And I always wonder if folks know how often you talked me off the cliff, no pun intended, by bringing your thoughtful, well-researched, educated voice to our table. Thank you to my friend, Phil Mooney. You were my right hand and sometimes my left for 4 years. Hope Deputy Steve's up to the task. Your knowledge of this community and desire to make this place better for everyone is unsurpassed. And I did give Councillor Phil a key to the town, and I told him to use it anytime. He's more than welcome. Most importantly, thank you to the community for allowing me the complete privilege of leading us into the future with what I already know is one amazing team. We aren't just here because of you, we are here for you, and we're ready to get started. As we would say, it's go time. And I actually have a mayor's report a little bit later on where we'll cover some of the things that we're excited to get going. So thanks, folks, for coming out and supporting us tonight. All righty. Declarations of conflict of interest, anybody? And understanding that when the agenda item comes on. So I should say this first. We're starting our regular council meeting now. I don't want anybody to feel like you have to stay, but I know how exciting this is. So feel free to hang around if you want. It won't be that painful. It's a mass exodus.
Yes, it will.
So for declarations of conflict, you can declare a conflict now, or you can declare a conflict if you believe you have one when that agenda item comes up. Approval of agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda, folks?
Your Worship.
Go ahead, Councillor.
Actually, I do have a small one. I'm looking for an update on the traffic on Parade Street next to the Yarmouth Elementary School.
Okay, I'm going to put Parade Street on there under 16A, folks, or 16 is additions. So if you want to add 16A, Parade Street. Thank you, Councillor. Anything else to add or delete? We're good? Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda with the addition, please. Okay, moved by Councillor Deputy Barry.
Second.
Second by Councillor Cleveland. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Okay, approval of minutes. Town Council, October 8th, 2020.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Cleveland. Second by Councillor McLeod. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Business arising, sewer discharge bylaw, second reading. So I'm looking for a motion to approve second reading of the sewer discharge bylaw. It has been advertised, and it will be advertised. It will go to the province, and we will announce that it's been at the province. Go ahead, CAO.
Yes, Your Worship. So anytime council is considering an amendment to a bylaw, it needs to be advertised in a local paper. And so we have done that. And there is no public hearing required where it's not a land use bylaw amendment or subdivision bylaw amendment. So motion to approve second reading, discussion, have the question, and then if that motion passes to approve it, then we do advertise it once it becomes effective. The province gets a copy.
Good? Okay. So I'm looking for that motion. Councillor Dares. Second by Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? Questions called? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you. Accessibility Advisory Committee Policy Amendment. So it's a policy amendment. All I need is a motion to approve that. Can I have that by somebody?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Councillor Cleveland. Second by Deputy. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Committee appointments. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to read them just because there's so many people watching, and it'll give them an idea of some of the things we cover. So we did at a previous meeting, when we got together, went over committees, decided which ones we wanted, and signed up for them. So Planning Advisory Committee, myself, Councillor MacLeod, Councillor Cleveland, Councillor Dares. Communities in Bloom, Councillor Hatfield and Councillor Dares. Mariner Centre Expansion, that's mine. Doctor Recruitment is Councillor MacLeod. Heritage Advisory, Councillor MacLeod, Councillor Hatfield, Councillor Dares. The REMO Executive is myself and Councillor Dares. Police Advisory, we have the Deputy Mayor and Councillor Lesser. The Audit Committee is Councillor MacLeod, Councillor Cleveland, Councillor Lesser. Pension Advisory is Councillor MacLeod. Yarmouth Recreation is myself, Deputy Mayor, and Councillor Dares. The Wren Liaison and Oversight Committee is Councillor Lesser, and Councillor MacLeod is the alternate. Accessibility Advisory Committee, Councillor Dares and Councillor Lesser. The Lake George Watershed Advisory, Councillor Hatfield and Deputy Mayor. Events Committee, it's the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Cleveland, Councillor Hatfield. Sister City Advisory Committee, it's myself and Councillor Hatfield. Public Transit Nominating Committee, Councillor MacLeod, Councillor Cleveland, Deputy Mayor. Green Energy is Councillor Lesser. The 103 and the 101 Highway Committees are Councillor Lesser's. Mariner Centre is Councillor Cleveland. Yarmouth and Area Industrial Commission, Councillor MacLeod, Deputy Mayor, and Councillor Hatfield. Yarmouth Water Utility, the Water Utility is all of council, and actually our Deputy Mayor is the chair. Yarmouth Airport Corporation is Councillor Cleveland, and Councillor Dares is the alternate. Solid Waste Park, Councillor MacLeod and Councillor Dares. YASTA is Councillor Cleveland. The Library Board is Councillor MacLeod. Waste Check is Councillor Hatfield and Councillor Dares. Waterfront Development is myself and Councillor MacLeod, and the UNESCO Biosphere is Councillor Lesser. I know I read them quickly, but was there any discrepancies? Go ahead there, CAO.
Yeah, just the Deputy Mayor is also a member of the Mariner Centre Expansion Committee.
That's right. Yeah. So There's three. There's the one that Warden Cunningham oversees, which is both. And there's two subcommittees, yes. Okay, good. So I am looking for a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Cleveland, second by Councillor Lesser. Questions called. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Now we can really get to work. Proposal results, agenda and meeting management system. Did you want to take that, CAO? We're just looking for a motion or?
Sure. Your Worship, as the memo indicates, Lindsay McKinnon, our clerk and executive assistant, led a request for proposals process to replace our council management system, and includes our streaming system as well, our streaming encoder. And the results of what was advertised on the public procurement website, the proposals we received were evaluated, and it's recommended that that eScribe, with the overall highest score, be selected. The initial setup cost and training is $4,850. Annual subscription starts at $19,700, with a 2.5% annual increase based on a 3-year term. So, Your Worship, we offer that for your consideration.
Okay. So I'm looking for a motion to get it on the table.
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder? Okay, Councillor Hatfield. Okay, discussion, anyone? Go ahead, Councillor Lesser. Yep.
I know we talked about it prior to this, but just wondering if the possibility of having closed caption involved with that system, if we can have that as part of the broadcast system.
Go ahead, CAO, just to...
Your Worship, we investigated that and discussed it with the vendor, and there's two ways to provide closed captioning, and I think the way that we're going to proceed, at least initially, is using the YouTube closed captioning. So YouTube has a service that when you post a video, they provide closed captioning. That will be a cost-effective solution, and we'll monitor it for its accuracy and suitability. There is an option to purchase a module for closed captioning within this package. It's relatively expensive, and so we thought at least we'll start out and see how good the YouTube solution is, and post that alongside our stream videos through the eScribe platform.
Excellent. Good stuff. Is that helpful?
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you. Okay, did you have a question? You good? Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to approve the system.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, I already made that. We already made that. We're at the discussion. I'm calling for the question.
Question.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Go ahead, CAO. Did you? Oh, you good? Oh, okay. Okay, so next is the council meetings bylaw. We're at the first reading. So basically this one is, there's just the addition. I'll read the addition, although I'm sure everybody's read that. Any or all councillors may participate in a meeting of council or a committee of council by means of a telephone or video conference, or by any means of communication by which all persons participating in the meeting are able to communicate with one another, and such participation shall constitute presence at the meeting. Okay? So we're just looking to make that change, and I think given COVID and everything else, it's just really incumbent upon us to make sure everybody has access, safe access. And, you know, sometimes it's travel and things like that. Go ahead there, Councillor Cleveland.
Welcome to the modern world. I think this is
Exactly.
going to be very effective as well, just as far as not necessarily everybody being able to be present at a certain meeting. Really, the world keeps growing smaller and smaller. So is a motion required to move this along?
Mm-hmm.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. So motion for first reading. Did you second that, Deputy? Okay. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Go ahead, CAO.
Yeah, I'm not contrary, but I just wanted to mention that if the bylaw passes at the next council meeting, so it will require 2 readings, We have drafted a policy that goes hand in glove with this bylaw, and so the policy lays out terms and conditions for participating virtually in council meetings. So we've grabbed some bylaws that exist out in the world, and we've tailored them to our situation. That will be on the committee of whole agenda for your discussion and consideration. And depending on if you want to tweak it or not, we'll tweak or we won't, and we'll put it on for the November council meeting, or sorry, December council meeting.
Good, everybody good? Thank you. Circus animal bylaw. I wasn't seeing the difference, but did you want to speak to that? Because
Yes, Your Worship. So in the term of each council, it is now our intention to review every bylaw and policy within the term that you sit at this table. And so every bylaw and policy will come up on a council agenda, and there may be significant changes, there may be no changes at all. This is a case where staff reviewed this bylaw and feel there are no changes warranted, so we put it on the table if with a recommendation that no changes be made. If you accept that, then that's the end of it. The bylaw remains in place without any amendment, but if you feel that amendment may be required, you could propose that tonight, or you could refer an issue back to staff for further investigation, and we can bring it back to the table at a later date.
okay, so what is the wish of council? Go ahead, Councillor McLeod.
I think I asked this question in one of the last meetings we had, but when we update it, if we approve the updated, is it at the end of our, there's a date of February 1997. Will it have today's date or this date?
So that's a great question. So no, because if we make no changes, we don't need to do 2 readings. It just remains as was approved at the earlier date. But in the minutes for today, it will indicate that the bylaw was reviewed and no change was recommended. And so if you don't choose to make an amendment, a motion to maintain the bylaw, let's say, would be appropriate. It is not. It is a single motion.
I understand. So Jeff, so 5 years from now, or 2 terms from now, when they look at this, or it's been up for discussion, will they know that we dated it or talked about it today?
Well, you'll know, Jim, so you'll tell them. No, sorry, Jim.
No, it's all right. Good for you, Jeff.
No, so this is a process that we've had going on for a while. If we continue this process, then I think any bylaw that comes forward that doesn't have an update within the previous 4-year term, the assumption will be is it came to the table without a recommendation to amend and was maintained in its current form.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good. Anyone else? Okay, so we're just looking for a motion to approve it as is. Okay.
To approve it as it is with no amendments or changes.
Thank you, Councillor Hatfield. Second by Councillor McLeod. Any more discussion? Questions called? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Rental of chambers policy. So this is another one that we're just kind of going through. But we removed a big portion there. So I'm looking for input. Go ahead, CA.
So, Your Worship, I'll explain the change that's suggested. So the change is that our current policy on use of town hall facilities, there's a clause in there that I wish council to consider to remove. And that clause is as follows: on an exception basis, upon receipt of a written request from a not-profit, community-based agency or board who require the facilities for a public meeting and have confirmed that there is no other appropriate facility available, in such cases, approval may be granted upon receipt of a sufficient deposit to cover the anticipated costs of staff supervision during the event and subsequent cleanup. And, Your Worship, we have not had a lot of call for that. We do have other facilities. We have a wonderful room at Mariner Center that is approximately the same size as this, maybe a little bigger. We have a much bigger, beautiful room at the fire hall that is about to be reopened to the public for large public meetings. And of course, we have other facilities in the community like the Milo Boat Club, the Lions Club, and so on. So I'd prefer, if we could, to take that out, because it is not generally our intention to have groups come in and use this room if they aren't a committee of council or council themselves. So I would ask you to consider striking that from the policy, but it is your decision.
Okay, so I have a question. So does it mean we can't have groups in here? We're taking that out. So for example, we have Communities in Bloom I'll use for an example. And they simply wanted, because they were at the Rod Grand and they wanted a smaller contingent to be able to meet before a big event, just come over here and do a small event here.
Well, Communities in Bloom is a committee of council, and so it would qualify.
Okay.
And this is a policy, so that is the way we will project it.
Okay.
You know, we have policies that every now and then there are circumstances that we can't foresee or don't foresee when we consider these things, and I'll use our proclamation
Yes.
that we never, ever, except once, do. So this will be a never, ever, and there will be some situation that will arise that will call upon us to make an exception, and I'm not opposed to that, but what I'd like to be able to say is this is not a room that you come and go to first, and that there are many other rooms that we think the community can use that aren't committees of council or council themselves.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so are we okay with that? And if so, I'm looking for a motion to approve with the deletion. Okay, moved by Deputy. Have a seconder? Second by Councillor Hatfield. Any more discussion?
Could I offer one more
Certainly.
point? Is that when this policy was first brought into place, we had our own janitorial staff within the town, and so after hours there would be staff in the building who were not, who were our staff. That service has been contracted out for the last number of years, and so we don't have cleaners who are our own staff, and so if we're going to have somebody else in the building, that's somebody else on staff who has to be recruited to be present for the alarm and unlocking the doors and so on. And then we have to make arrangements with the cleaner around that. Making the arrangements is not the big part, but it is just that we don't have that presence the way we used to after hours.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, did we vote on that?
Question.
Questions called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Tire recycling facility, Councillor Lesser.
Your Worship, I'd like to make a motion that Council directs staff to do a preliminary evaluation of the idea of developing a tire recycling facility in our area.
Okay. Second to get it on the floor. Okay, so I have a question for the CAO. So tire recycling, you mean in the area within town, not in town?
Sorry, yeah, I'm looking at the waste park.
Gotcha. Okay, all right. You good? I didn't know if there's any logistics you had to add around it. Otherwise, we'll just vote.
Go ahead and vote on it. I think that you know, it won't take an exhaustive effort to understand how that works within this province. I think there's only one facility, and I don't know what the deal is between them and the Resource Recovery Fund Board or Divert, but a little bit of investigation there. We can report back to council.
Good.
And let you know where things sit.
Thank you. Okay. Questions called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Yarmouth Elementary School parking.
Approached by the Yarmouth Elementary School parent council group, and they were concerned about some of the safety issues with drop-off and pickup of the children. and they're asking if we could have the traffic authority look at removing the parking, the no parking in front, directly in front of the school, so on the north end of the school, but right on the front of the school. It's all no parking along there, so they would like to have that removed, or some of it removed, so that the parents could park there and alleviate some of the congestion in that inner circle.
Good. So moved and seconded. Any discussion? Go ahead there, Councillor McLeod.
I probably walk by there, Heather, every 5 times a day, I think, and I know it's a challenge.
It is a challenge.
And I don't know how this might not be the only, something else might need to look at too. But there's Brunswick Street and there's Parade Street, and I feel that there's going to be a problem sometime, and I don't want there to be a problem.
Yeah.
But I don't know how we're going to correct it. I know I see parents walking their children to school, and I wonder when the parents aren't there, or when the young people are running ahead of their parents and not crossing in the crosswalk and things like that, which I see irregularly, but I see it. And so I don't know how we're going to overcome that, but I think it's worth looking into, as you've suggested.
Yeah, I think it is a major issue there, and removing those few signs is not going to solve the issue, but it would help to have those few spaces where people could park. But like you said, people are parking on Brunswick Street, they're all over the place, they're over in Zion, the old Zion Church parking lot, the park in there, and it's just those times a day, the pickup and the drop-off that are the major issues,
Well,
and it is a safety issue.
The pickup and the dropping off is a major issue, and I think the drivers who are dropping them off need to be more careful. And Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Davis.
Yeah, thank you. What I have noticed in that area is that the people that are parking on the south side of that street have kids crossing the street where there's not a crosswalk. So it's creating a dangerous situation, and I think by eliminating the no parking on the north side, the students wouldn't have to cross the street to get to a vehicle. So it does make some sense. And the other thing I've noticed is that people are ignoring the no parking signs anyway.
Well,
So,
yeah, good point. Okay. Go ahead there, Councillor Lesser.
Having lived through the high school parking, not having enough parking when it was designed, has certainly presented challenges, but high school students can be a lot safer crossing the street. And I go by there every morning, especially on Brunswick Street. There's a lot of congestion and parking on both sides, a lot of families coming in and out, and you have to be very careful. Having the new stop sign added and people now following that has added a bit of security and safety for our students. But I think having, this would be one step, I think that could be done. But I think the whole area probably needs to be investigated more, because we have a lot of young children crossing the street. And like you said, going across from the old Zion Baptist Church across and trying to make those crosswalks work, it just isn't practical for the students. So I think this is a good step in the right direction, but I think we should be looking at possibly doing some more too.
So I just have a question. So Zion Baptist, the Zion space doesn't work? Is there not a crosswalk at that corner?
There is one, I think, right on the corner there.
Yes.
So that does work when people are being cautious about it, but there is still that danger of kids having to cross the road, I think is.
Okay.
But maybe when we have the traffic authority go and look at these removal of the signs that they are requesting, it might be a good idea for them just to have a really good look at the whole situation. And there may be other things, suggestions that they could come up with. But I know it's been an ongoing issue for a long time, and it is an issue, that's for sure. It is a safety issue there.
Thank you. Go ahead there, Councillor.
Yeah, what I was getting at with Zion Baptist Church is when they cross, they're crossing across Parade Street, but it's not that far off of that three-way stop. So when you're making that corner in the morning, anything looking up Parade Street, you have a lot of sun in the way. Ideally, students not having to cross that street at all would be a good move, I think, for student safety.
I must be the only one that does. Go ahead.
Well, I've been doing a lot, actually, from the time that I started out here. I did a lot of work and continue to, looking at different ways that traffic moves and the way crosswalks are done and that kind of thing, because there was a lot of it available at the time, and so I did a lot of studying of it, and it becomes kind of a path of least resistance. People cross where they're going to cross, so you can put that at the corner, and it doesn't make a hell of beans because people are going to cross where they're going to cross, and it seems like a good time to bring up the addition that I have down at 16, because this is exactly the same thing. The Home and School came to me at the old council and asked if we could take a look at putting a crosswalk in. And I was wondering about progress with that. Before I get any further with that, though, the idea is, in that case, and obviously it's a problem when it comes to people getting their kids on and off as well, running across the road there. But the problem that was brought up to me at that time was the idea that what the kids were doing was they're playing. They're playing across the road at the playground over at the central school. And they're going directly across, no matter where the crosswalk happens to be. There used to be a crosswalk there.
Yeah, big one.
A big one. And I had asked whether or not the traffic authority could take a look at possibly putting something else there. And I was wondering if anybody had even bothered at this point, or whether they were waiting, or if you knew anything about it.
Sorry, the traffic authority will have a report, and he'll be present at the COW meeting to discuss that. And if council refers this matter as well, and maybe it is the bigger question, right? Maybe it isn't just these signs, that crosswalk. Maybe it's a bigger question of looking at that all the streets adjacent to the school, and looking at it from the view of what improvements can be made for student safety. Now, before the school was built, before any school is built, there's always a traffic study conducted, and I would suggest that TIR, and I know that's something you're going to talk to council about tonight, but TIR, Transportation and Infrastructure Renewal, they'll be in our community in the next few weeks to meet specifically with you. That was kind of a spoiler, but this might be something to raise, and maybe we can give them a heads up, and they can provide that report, that background report, that can assist our local traffic authority in considering options.
Is that Paul LaFleche?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay. The thing is that the whole area, we've done, over the course of the last couple of years, things have come up, and, you know, and there's still discussion going on now, or was discussion, about even the one-way at Seminary and the way that was all set up, because it's still set up for the old school system with Central School. I think the whole area needs a really good, hard reapproach and relook, and all of those need to be under one big umbrella kind of looked over.
Which is what you're asking.
Yeah, there's some danger there, and it's our kids, my grandkids, and so, you know, it's important. Sophia gets hit, I'm not getting reelected.
Councillor Davis?
Yeah, you know, one of the things that we have to understand is that area is complicated by the fact that there is a hill. I recall, because placement of crosswalks is a contentious issue, and I recall at one point, even at Meadowfield School, they wanted one at the front entrance. What we have to remember is that sometimes crosswalks will create a sense of false security, especially for young children. And I think Fred Hatfield, in an editorial years ago, summed it up best by saying, asking the question, does it hurt less if you get hit in a crosswalk? And so those are the kind of things that should guide people when they make those kind of decisions. But it's a difficult area, and I know that at one time when I was deputy, for a short period of time, was the deputy traffic authority here, we looked at that quite closely, and it's a really difficult area to position a crosswalk. Yeah.
I'm glad you said it, because So I agree, Councillor Hatfield, like, we need to look at the big picture and include what you were saying there, Councillor Cleveland. Look at the big picture. And it is safety. It's safety. There's also, yeah, we have to make sure that if we have to teach the kids to cross the road. Sorry, but we do, right? Like, we can put them in bubbles. We have to make sure everything we do is first and foremost safety. You're bang on with it. I think that's why if I'm not mistaken, that might be why that crosswalk's not there now, because of that hill. There was an issue that was brought up before. It's a really, really difficult place, but yeah, so, okay, so the motion made by Councillor Hatfield was for the traffic authority to look at that area.
Look at the area, specifically the signs in
Yes.
front of the building to be removed, but at the same time, look at the whole general
Yeah.
area and have a good look at what else, what could be done.
Yes. Okay. Who seconded that? Did you second that, Deputy? Okay, go.
Just one question. If in fact there is no resistance to removing the no parking sign on the north side of the street, would we have to wait for a full report, or could that be done in the interim?
Go ahead.
Your Worship, I would suggest that question be raised with the traffic authority in 2 weeks when he's present. I'm not the traffic authority, and I don't work in public works, but one of the concerns might be is not the signs so much as the pavement markings. That there is a cross-hatched area on the street that would need to be repainted, and I'm not clear if the intention is to remove the parking on the south side of the street and simply move it to the north side of the street, so that you eliminate that opportunity to park on the south side of the street and have your kids cross.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I think, like I say, Chad will be present in 2 weeks' time, and I think you guys should have this discussion a bit with him, and give him a good flavor for what you're looking for.
Okay.
But I guess I would ask that question, with this motion, if it passes tonight, if I knew that the intention was to remove the parking on the south side, then I could convey that. But if it's just simply to add parking, so now you have parking on both sides of the street, just some clarity on that.
Yeah. So what is it?
My understanding is that they're asking for the parking to be removed, the no parking, to be removed on the north side, and they didn't indicate anything about the south side of the street.
Okay.
I can ask them,
Okay. CAO, do you want us to, if this motion goes through, then maybe Councillor Hatfield can ask that question and...
Your Worship, I can reach out to Richard. That's not an issue. I just
Okay.
wasn't sure if Councillor had a good sense of what the intention was.
There was no mention of the south side of the street.
I'll reach out to Richard, or have Chad reach out to him and have that discussion.
Perfect. Okay. So there was a motion. It was seconded. Is there any more discussion? Questions called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thank you, folks. Tender results, snow clearing removal 2020-2021. So we have 7 parking lots, I think it is, 7 parking lots within the downtown area for the 2020-2021 winter season. It was advertised on the provincial website, the Vanguard, the town's website. We have to advertise these extensively. And we received 1 response from K. Anthony Landscaping and Snow Removal. I'm looking at price for snow removal for, how does this work, CAO? Is it per storm event?
Your Worship,
$12.60?
it's per event, and there's different prices. One is for snow clearing and ice control. One is for just snow removal, so that is when snow piles up and they need to come in and just simply move the snow off-site. And the final one is for ice control only.
Okay.
Now, there is a price on there for snow clearing only, so that's when they would just plow the lot and move on. And the bid is $0 for that. And the contractor says he knows what he's doing there, that in fact it is never the case that they just come in and clear the parking lot. There's always some packed snow that occurs, and so they spread salt. So he's comfortable that with that bid, and it's being recommended by the Manager of Public Works, and so that is for your consideration.
Good. So a motion to approve K. Anthony Landscaping for the snow removal. Thank you, Councillor Dares. Second by Councillor McLeod. Any more discussion on this one, folks? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. And we have tender results for the Ferry Terminal Work Package 5. Boy, this is doing it on a computer.
Your Worship, if I
Yeah,
may.
go ahead. By the time I bring it up.
This tender package is as the name suggests, it is the 5th package that the town has offered for the ferry terminal work. This one is to supply and deliver 7 prefabricated pill booths. The pill booths are the little buildings that the CBSA officers stand in when you come through the line in your vehicle. The pill booth is what we call that little building. And so those will be fabricated off-site and delivered. And the price that is offered is $530,000 plus HST.
Okay, thank you, CAO. So I'm looking for a motion to approve this one. Councillor Lesser, seconder, please. Second by Councillor Hatfield. Is there any more discussion on this? Sure.
It's called a pill booth, but what does that stand for, the PIL? Do you know? It's just kind of, yeah, were you? Okay.
I don't know. People in
Just
line,
weird.
I have no
Yeah.
idea.
Primary inspection line.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I just want you to know I Googled it. I didn't know that. I don't want you to think I'm brighter than I am. Yeah, so it is that first point of contact. Okay, questions called. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Thanks, folks. NSFM conference, I think I added that, or I asked Lindsay to just, so you would have received, I hope, Lindsay, you must have sent it out, dispersed it to the new council. So NSFM has 2 conferences a year. We have one in the fall, which is our main conference, and we have a spring conference. And because of COVID, we have to do it virtually. And I have to say, you lose a lot of the effect because I can say that, you know, the content of the conferences is off the charts. I would say just like FCM, which is the Federation of Canadian Municipalities that we go to every year, there's great speakers, you know, including the Prime Minister himself comes and the other leaders. But it's the, what do you call it, CAO? The networking, but where you go see everything. The study tours and the room filled with absolutely everything that a municipal unit could want. Just amazing. So we will miss that, but the content is really important. So that is December the 2nd. You will have gotten the email, and I guess I just wanted to remind everybody that you sign up for that, and you would sign up for the town's caucus meeting. All the town elected officials and CAOs get together and we discuss things that are pertinent to the town. So, and then I think we get a new president, because right now I'm the president of Nova Scotia Municipalities, and in less than a month I'll be past president. CAO, I'll be more time in the office. Say, re-elect her. Okay, so that was just a reminder. We have council advisory committees. We didn't have anything there, I don't think. And citizen planning advisory, did we have anything there? Councillor McLeod?
We have a planner, and I haven't met him yet. I don't know when he's going to start, Jeff, but looking forward to working with a planner for the first time in a long time. Thank you very much.
Pretty excited, everybody. Okay, so there's no reports. I have a mayor's report, so I haven't done one for a while. It's relatively short, but used to do them for Tina and put them in the Vanguard and just basically explain everything that was going on, the big projects that we had. But I just thought I would, this one is focused not on council, but on the public, really, so they understand a little bit about what we do and why we do it. The transition from one council to the next is definitely an exciting time. The business of the town doesn't stop, not for one moment. So in some ways, when you're new to council, it's like hopping on a moving train. We quickly become informed on current projects and at the same time bring fresh new ideas and approaches to the table. It's the best of both worlds. It's fast-paced, it's exciting, it's a ton of fun, and it's as humbling as it is gratifying. When I sat to write this report, there were so many places to start that I found myself thinking and coming back to the immensity of what lay before us and what our job is. And my words may not do it justice, but I'll give it a try. The council table, as many of you this evening have mentioned, is one of privilege. The sheer beauty of a democratic system puts the power of who will sit at the decision-making table in the hands of the very people these decisions are made for. Someone asked me recently how I would describe my position, and I think I mentioned it, you reminded me, Councillor Lesser, over at what we called the debate. How would I describe my position? And I guess we could say that I'm the CEO, the chief elected officer of a $90 million company. And together, the board, this council, makes decisions around $70 million in assets and the $20 million that we have in a budget before us. Each decision focused on making our community better. And when I've had an awful lot of people since I said that, said, wow, you know, I guess I never looked at it like that. But that's exactly what we're doing. If you turn the town into a business, it's a $90 million business, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Over the next 4 years, this council will make approximately 1,200 decisions on as many different issues. Councilors have been known to spend millions in less than 30 seconds and have been known to debate for 3 hours over a $50 bill. A great council, and I'm certain that we have one here, does its homework and comes to the table prepared. Background information matters. The facts matter. The ability to put everything on the table, open, respectful discussion, it all matters tremendously. And for a council tasked with making things better for all who live, work, and play here, values are also part of the decision-making process. Community values often outweigh dollar figures, and they often outweigh otherwise convincing rationale. And we make our decisions based on the fact that we know the heartbeat of our community. It's a really cool process. It's an exciting time to be at the table. We're still in the midst of so many huge projects. There's paving, the ferry terminal work, the extension to the Haley Road active transportation trail, and the list is long, and everyone at the table knows what they are. This council also understands how far-reaching our decisions are. As the Service Centre for Southwestern Nova Scotia, the decisions we make don't just impact the residents in town, they impact the entire region. From our decision to do the ferry terminal work, the installation of the bulk water station as a quick response to the ongoing drought, the fire hall renovations that benefit all, supporting the business that everybody shops and work in, we aren't afraid to make those tough decisions, and we've got a lot ahead of us. We have a YMCA building to reopen because the community needs it, and we have a Mariner Center to expand because most of us mentioned that in our campaigns. So I'm just really excited about what's ahead. And it's just important that we know just how important it is, how big it is. And I think I said this in orientation probably 50 times, but everything on the table, because we can't make the best decisions unless everybody puts everything on the table. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most. Everybody putting their thoughts in and coming out with one decision that we move forward with. And I wish we could take a snapshot in time right now and then a snapshot in 4 years and see just how much is done. So there we have it. Questions for committee chairs? Go ahead, Councillor Cleveland.
This is usually a time when people ask other people questions, but it's also a good time for everybody to have their kind of platform. And there's one thing I'd like to talk about.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, I wanted to publicly say a thank you to everyone who stepped up to make sure that the live stream for Remembrance Day went off without a hitch. When I realized, when it became clear that nothing was going to be happening there for the public, it was only going to be for invited guests, I knew that that just wouldn't do. And it took 3 phone calls, and everything was taken care of. And I don't know about you guys, but I saw it afterwards. I was there at the time, but I saw it afterwards, and it was good. It went off without a hitch. So I wanted to take a few minutes to thank Quinn Taggart, Max Poole, Nick Doucette, all part of the Mariner Center video crew. There's a lot of things that they do in this community that they don't get enough credit for. Rick Allwright came through without a second thought. Same with Larry Hattie over at Ocean Blue, who came up with the equipment. I mean, it took 20 minutes to put together, just like that. And it makes you realize what we have here. So I want to officially say thank you to all of those people for what they did, because they added a lot to it. It was an absolutely, how ironic. It was about the nicest day you could ask for. Usually it sucks, and it always, like, the weather has been lousy. It was a gorgeous day, and I thought, uh-oh, here we go, because it's such a beautiful day. It would have been so easy for hundreds of people to say, oh, the heck with that, we're coming. It was a big empty area with a few scragglers across the road who stayed and lingered, but that was all. And so the other part is thank you to the people of Yarmouth and the region who actually paid attention, who understood that it was better because of COVID to stay away, and watched it on that live stream. So thank you to everyone.
Well, thanks to you for catching that one, because it did make a difference. Go ahead.
Just want to echo what Councillor Cleveland has said regarding the media crew. Almost 10 years ago, when it was proposed that there be a large screen put in the Mariner Center and that there be a studio created, I was asked who was going to staff it, and I said it would be run by volunteers. And I think everybody thought that I was completely out of my mind. But with people like the people that have been mentioned, Quinn Taggart, Nick Doucette, Mac Poole, who have dedicated their time, not just at the Mariner Center, but specifically in other kind of public venues. They've covered all kinds of extra events outside the Mariner Center, and they really, really do a bang-up job, and they deserved the credit. So thank you for mentioning that.
Thank you. Anyone else? We're good? Okay. Additions. Are you good with yours?
Yeah, we took
Okay.
care of it.
All right. And then I snuck one in without permission, but it was TIR because CAO mentioned it. So transportation infrastructure is coming in the next couple weeks, and they were just looking for a date and time. So I'm just wondering if maybe we get Lindsay to send out. Okay, Lindsay, I'll send you a note, or I'll talk to you about that, and we'll just get a couple times. You're usually, folks are good by 3:30, depending on the day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we've got some different topics that we need to discuss, so I will follow through with that when Lindsay reminds me to follow through, because she knows I'm going to forget it as soon as. Okay, thank you. Approval of invoices. So this for what happens is checks get written, invoices get approved, and we just do that officially here in a nutshell. Go ahead, CAO.
Yeah, so committee chairs or chairs of corporations will have signing authority and will be expected to come into the office on a regular basis, review the files that'll be provided to you, and initial sign off on or sign the checks. And if there are any questions when you're looking at something, the Director of Finance, myself, staff can help to dig out the background and the backup for those items. But if there's anything that you find within the file that you have a concern about and want to bring here, that's okay. Audit Committee might be a better place, but the auditors like to see that motion approved every meeting so that they know that members of council who have the sign authority are reviewing the files and looking over the invoices.
Yeah. So usually every Thursday I get a stack of files with everything from Mariner Center to general water. You'll be doing those. So I get those, and then I just initial every invoice as well. And if I have any questions, I put the little yellow sticky and I give it to our financial officer. So it works. Yeah. Okay. So approval of invoices.
So moved.
Okay. Councillor Cleveland, second by Councillor McLeod. All those in favor?
Yep.
Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Date of next meeting?
Do we have anything in camera?
Yeah, probably. December the 10th.
Oh, I'm busy that day. Just messing with you.
We'll move it. Okay, so the next meeting is December 10th. Do we have anything in camera? We do. We have one item. Okay. And so what happens now is, in a nutshell, everybody has to leave, not council. Thank you, Warden, for coming and staying. We appreciate that. Yeah. Awesome.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.